Hi everyone, welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Blair. I share all kinds of beauty related videos here on my channel, tons of reviews, get ready with me videos, and a lot more. So if you're into that type of video, definitely subscribe. I post new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Today we're actually going to be doing one of my favorite kinds of videos. We're going to be testing two new concealers. I was actually going to split this into two videos, but I was thinking about it and I thought it would be fun to compare the two to each other. So I am going to be trying the One Size Turn Up the Base Buttersilk Concealer and comparing it to the new Lancome Teint Idole Concealer. We're going to compare the two. I'm going to do a wear test and we will see what we think. Which one is better? Are they both good? Are they both bad? We're going to find out together. So let's go ahead and get into the video. Let's get started. If you haven't seen my videos before, I never wear concealer without a corrector underneath. I always have blue and purple darkness under my eyes. No matter how much sleep I get, it doesn't matter. I am going to apply a corrector under my eyes like I normally would. I would never wear my concealer without corrector. That just wouldn't happen. So I'm going to be using the one that is my tried and true favorite that I've been using the longest, and it's the Bobbi Brown Corrector. This one is in the shade Bisque. So I did use my normal skincare today and my normal eye cream that I use every single day, which is the Banana Bright Eye Cream by Ole Henriksen. And now we're going to go in with corrector and probably going to just go ahead and apply it to both eyes and speed through this, and then we will move on to the concealers. Okay, so I applied corrector under both eyes, and now we'll move on to the concealers. I'm going to do the One Size Turn Up the Base Buttersilk Concealer first. I have mine in the shade Light 3 Neutral, which is light with neutral undertones. I typically like more of a neutral concealer under my eyes. I just find that's the most flattering on me most of the time. So a little bit about this concealer. I have it pulled up on my phone here. It is $25. It comes in 24 shades. Full coverage, long wearing, vegan, cruelty-free, waterproof, and good for all skin types. It says an all-day wear, medium to full coverage. Acts as the most targeted texture solver, gliding on skin like butter on toast. Interesting. It also says it has caffeine in it, which is very interesting to me. So we're going to go in with this one first. Like I said, this is the shade Light number 3 Neutral. So there is the swatch. Okay, and the applicator is a doe foot, but it's kind of pointed on the end. Hopefully you can see that. I feel like I really like this doe foot. It's not like too big, but it's not really small. It's like right in between. So let's go ahead and apply this. I'm going to do this one on my right eye. I'm going to start with that, and then I always do a little bit out there. I always let my concealer sit for about a minute, I would say, before I start blending it in. And I typically use a brush, so that's what I'm going to use today. I do have a sponge here as well. I may go in with the sponge afterward. I don't know, but we're going to start out with a brush since that's what I typically do. I'm going to use this one from Hourglass. This is the Hourglass concealer brush. And I am going to just start tapping this in. I was looking on Sephora before I started filming this video, and this concealer already has almost 5 stars. It was like 4.5 stars, I think. I know reviews are not everything, but And this concealer hasn't been out very long, but the reviews I saw so far were pretty good. Hopefully you can see this. So this is it on this eye. First of all, it does not look dry at all. For typically matte concealers, if they say they're full coverage and they're matte, a lot of the times they do tend to have that dry look to them. That's just kind of part of it. So far, this does not look dry at all. I did really, really moisturize under my eyes though, so that could be part of it for sure. And it says it's full coverage. I would say this is a full coverage for sure. It kind of reminds me of Tarte Shape Tape, but not as thick and not as drying. Tarte Shape Tape, even the hydrating Tarte Shape Tape can be a little bit drying in my opinion. I don't really think I need any more, but I am curious to see if this builds up at all, so I'm going to add like a little dot. I think the color is really good for me also. That's a deal breaker for me with concealers. If the color is wrong, that's not good. Okay, so I am again going to pat this in. I do definitely think that this concealer a little goes a long way for sure. It spreads a lot when you put it on, so keep that in mind when you're applying it. So there it is, blend it in. You guys, this looks really good, just right off the bat. It looks really, really nice. It did build up slightly, I would say, with that last little bit. This looks really good. And you saw I put corrector on first, then I put the concealer on, and then I put a little bit more. And so far, it looks really good. It gives great coverage. It's not drying at all, or it doesn't look drying under my eyes. And I'm not noticing any creasing so far. Okay, now let's move on to the Lancome concealer. So this is the Teint Idole Ultra Wear All Over Concealer. And I actually have not tried much from Lancome at all. So I'll be very curious to try this. And the reason I wanted to compare these two is I was looking at the descriptions and they're very, very similar. This one also claims to be full coverage, matte finish, long wearing. It retails for $29, which is a little bit more than the one size one. And this Lancome one only comes in 20 shades. But it's very interesting. It claims it's hydrating, lightweight, but full coverage, brightens the look of dark circles and covers imperfections without creasing or caking. Sounds really good. So let's see how this is. So I got the shade Buff 215 Neutral. Again, I like more of a neutral shade. This, I will say, for some reason, I really like this packaging on this concealer. I don't know why, but I really like this. And I will swatch this for you next to the one size. So this one is the Lancome concealer. This one is one size. So the Lancome one definitely looks, I would say this one looks more neutral, just looking at it, like looking at the swatches. The one size one, I mean, it's neutral, I would say, but it's definitely a neutral to golden, I would say. It has a little more yellow to it. So the doe foot applicator is a lot larger on the Lancome concealer. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to apply a little there and a little there. Oh, it does feel very lightweight, very, very thin. Okay, so I let this one, the Lancome one, sit for about a minute, and we're going to start tapping this in. And I'm using a different brush. This is the Smashbox blurring concealer brush. I didn't want to mix the colors or anything. So here is the Lancome. This is the one size. So blended out, they don't look that different. I do think the Lancome one is a little bit thinner. Like, to me, this is not full coverage in my opinion. The one size one looks a little more full coverage to me, but I'm not really surprised because the Lancome one feels more lightweight and not as thick as the one size. So I do want to add some more of the Lancome one, and we will just tap this in. Yeah, the Lancome one for sure feels lighter. It just feels more lightweight in general than the one size. Here we have Lancome and one size. I still think the one size is a little fuller coverage than the Lancome. I'm not surprised. The one size is definitely thicker. This one feels more hydrating, and I'm guessing that's why I would say this is more of a medium coverage. Just in my opinion, the one size is definitely closer to a full coverage. So hopefully you can see this. My camera cannot go, or my lens does not go any closer than this. So I hope you can see. Again, this side is Lancome, and this side is one size. I will say it's very interesting. Neither of them look super matte, and especially the one size one, because it's been on my skin for like 10-15 minutes now, and it still does not look super matte. Like, it definitely has a little bit of hydration look to it, like in a good way. I like it. And the Lancome one, same thing. The finish actually looks very similar, but neither of them look very matte. But I definitely do not think the Lancome is full coverage. That's just my opinion. And also, it's going to depend on how much you have to cover in terms of whether or not you think something is full coverage. That's a very relative thing to say because it definitely depends on the person. But in my mind, the one size is full coverage. The Lancome is more of a medium coverage. That is going to be it for this part of the video. I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of my makeup, and then I'll come back and we'll look at these again and kind of see what we think. And I might wait until then and set them with a little bit of powder. I don't know. Probably wait until I come back and we'll see how they look, and then we may or may not go in with some powder. So I will be back in just a second for you, and we'll see how everything's looking. I'm back. So I did the rest of my makeup, obviously, and I have not put any powder under my eyes yet. So I have not done anything to the concealer. I did add a little bit of powder on the rest of my face, but that's it. So nothing under my eyes. So let me zoom you in a little bit closer and we'll see what we think. So again, this side has the one size concealer. This side has the Lancome concealer. Neither have any powder at all. So my first thought is, honestly, there doesn't appear to be a huge difference right now between the two. I do still think this side has more coverage. This is the one size side. This is the Lancome side. Neither of them look super matte though, which is very interesting because they both claim to be matte finishes. But honestly, neither of them look that matte. They both definitely set down a little bit, but neither of them look like what I think of when I think of a matte concealer. I, so far, don't see a huge difference between the two. It's interesting. I personally like a fuller coverage because I do have dark under eyes. So coverage-wise, I would go with one size. But I don't think there's like a substantial difference between the two. I just don't think the Lancome side is as full coverage. But again, it's going to depend on you and how much darkness you have. I do think the Lancome is a little bit more hydrating and a little bit thinner. I like them both as of right now, and they do look very similar. So I'm going to use the same powder on both sides, and it's a really lightweight powder that I typically don't have any issues with. So I'm going to use the Pat McGrath under eye powder. This one is the light shade, so it does look pretty white. So I also don't see much creasing on either eye, which I will say that can sometimes be an advantage, in my opinion, to concealers that aren't super hydrating, just because sometimes that can make things crease more. So I'm gonna take a little bit of the Pat McGrath powder and I'm just lightly patting over my under eyes. I'm using just a little fluffy eyeshadow brush because I don't want to get a lot. Okay, so here it is again. So one size Lancome. Even with the powder on top, honestly, they look very similar. Other than the Lancome side, I still see a little bit of darkness peeking through here. You may or may not be able to see that on camera, but there's not a huge difference. As of right now, I'm pretty impressed with both of these. So I'm gonna wear this makeup all day long, and I'll come back in a few hours and we'll see how everything is looking. And I'll also take a clip on my phone in front of a window so you can see what it looks like in natural light. And yeah, so I will see you guys a little bit later. Hi guys, it has been, I guess, let's see, 5 hours now. And this is what concealer looks like. So this eye is my right eye. It may be reversed on YouTube, but this eye is the One Size concealer and this eye is the Lancome concealer. So hopefully you can see. Honestly, they both have a little bit of like crepey creasing right here, kind of in the same area on both sides. And I do still think the coverage looks the best on the One Size side. You can still see a little bit of the darkness peeking through right here. But they both look pretty good. I mean, for 5 hours, I'm not disappointed with either of them, to be honest. And this is natural light, so I have no other lights, just standing in front of a window right now. They definitely look more matte than they did earlier, but we did set with that little bit of Pat McGrath powder, so I'm not super surprised. I think they both look nice. I just think that the right eye with the One Size looks a little bit better in terms of coverage than the Lancome side, but there's not a huge difference. And I do have a little bit of settling on both sides, but I'm not surprised by that. That happens with pretty much any concealer that I use, especially because I used a corrector and then concealer on both eyes. But I'm pretty happy with how they look. Honestly, I feel like the color of the One Size is a little bit yellow, like just a little bit yellow for me. So I prefer the color on the Lancome, but I like the way the One Size one looks a little bit better. But I'm gonna continue to wear this for a few more hours and then I'll come back and I'll show you what they're looking like before I take my makeup off. So I'll see you guys in a few hours. Okay, I am back for my final check-in with you. I'm about to go take my makeup off and take a shower. So I wanted to do this final wrap up on these two concealers with you. So again, One Size is this side, Lancome is on this side. And guys, I have to say, they have both worn really well. I mean, honestly, really well. The only place where I would say is starting to look a bit kind of drier and not cakey, but just a little like crepey looking, like makeup tends to start looking after it's been on for a while, is right here in the very inner corner. But that's pretty much true of any concealer. It's been on for about 8 hours now. In terms of which one I like the best, as of right now, I would say the one size. I just feel like this side overall looks a little bit better than the Lancome side, and that hasn't really changed. I felt that way when I first applied it, and I still think this side looks a little bit better. I do definitely think this concealer would probably be more versatile in terms of who would like this. I'm guessing more people would probably enjoy the Lancome one versus the one size, just because the Lancome one is much more moisturizing. You can tell instantly as soon as you put it on, and it's more of a medium coverage, which I feel like kind of appeals to more people. If you're someone like me that has a lot of darkness under your eyes and you like a fuller coverage, I would think you would like the one size concealer, but they both look nice. Honestly, I will continue to use both because I'm really enjoying them both, and honestly they don't look that different from each other. And that is going to be it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know in the comments if you've tried either of these concealers. If you think one looks better than the other, let me know in the comments. And I love to try concealer. Concealer and correctors are my thing, and I can't resist. And I thought, since these two, based on description, seemed pretty similar, it would be fun to kind of test them together. So thank you so much for watching. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Please subscribe if you haven't already. I post new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Also, make sure to go follow me over on Instagram at simply.blair. I will list and link these concealers as well as everything else I have on my face in my description box for you if you're curious. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Remember, simply be you. Bye.